So hopefully we're live. So
check on my
only half of us.
Only half of us. What about the other half?
awesome webcam. So no viewers.
Perfect.
One. Is that one of us?
That's me.
Which means we can get undressed this time without anyone noticing.
You know,
Oh, we have 3 now. So should we just do quick introductions around the table?
While the other 2 viewers are.
I'm Shannon.
Yeah, I'm Simon.
I'm Max.
I'm Rune. I'm Per.
I'm Niels.
Hi, Sebastian.
And Warren. Tom Pyatt. Am I viewer number 1? Yes.
Best question ever.
Answered.
We only answer yes or no. Then awkward silence.
There's awkward silence.
What do you want to talk about, Warren?
Nothing new. Nothing new. It's always awkward silence when.
Nope.
But it's usually at the end of Hangouts.
Yeah,
Not at the
this
beginning.
time we'll end with a bang. Should I get one of the confetti?
Okay.
No.
Craig Stevens asks, are there any differences between a URS test and live site that would affect load testing results, i.e. testing the test site is a fair representation of live site performance?
Sebastian. I'm trying to understand the question.
So I think Craig is asking,
Yeah.
if I have a test site, is it going to be if I was to put, I don't know, load testing and performance, is it going to be exactly the same as if it was the live environment?
Yeah, I think at the moment the environments are exactly the same. So they should be the same, except maybe you have more content in your live site or in your test site. So that whatever is different in your current sites, but the environments are exactly the same.
Except for the basic auth.
Oh, except for, yeah, there is authentication on the dev side, and we do not force the dev side to be in non-debug mode. So you need to update your web config to be in debug off, debug false, to make sure that you get the best performance that you can get.
But you can do that directly from your project page.
Yeah.
Just click debug.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's a drop down. It says debug off.
Sweet.
We can draw it.
We can
We can draw it.
Draw it. on the whiteboard.
No, on a napkin. And pass it to the webcam.
Oh yes.
Yep. So there's sparse number of actual questions, but we have, Stefan Kipp asks, when will you merge the password reset pull request?
Well,
this was just in sprint planning. Go on, Shannon.
I will be looking at it this spring.
Can you elaborate?
We'll look at it this sprint. It will be targeted for a 7.5 release. There's too many changes in it currently to consider for a 7.43. But we will review that to see if we can make it into a patch release. But as it stands now, it'll be a 7.5 release, and hopefully, if there's no problems with it, merged in this week.
Woohoo! So I suppose whilst we wait for questions to come in, this could be a dull half hour otherwise.
You always have questions, Warren.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something. Should have prepared. So we're based in Odense. Odense.
Oh, you're getting so good.
It's a soft D.
Oh, okay.
Non-existing D.
The non-existing D. Okay.
To do the D, you have to sort of bump Like, Odense.
Perfect. And now there's a question. Perfect.
How do you pronounce Odense?
What are the pictures on the right on the wall? Asks Kevin Disquesky.
It is pictures from Coke Garden and other community events the past many years.
My favorite is Paris photo with the hat up there.
Yes,
Yeah, bring it to the camera.
It's one of the very first bingo prizes.
it is actually. Let's see if we can get it on the camera. It's this one.
Yep.
And
Ooh la la.
it's actually a reaction to this one.
Was that Jeroen?
Yeah. Yes, but when you come to the pre-Coke Garden 16,
That's what I was just
party,
about to get to.
then you can see it for yourself because we are hosting the party.
Here,
Yeah,
in the office.
Yep.
So how are we doing for ticket sales? We 50% sold.
Yep. Better than ever.
Sweet. Ricardo asks, tell us what we can expect from Code Garden. I don't know if Ricardo has been to Code Garden before, but maybe Per, as you're doing some planning.
So in regards to speakers and sessions, I think we've never had this many speakers confirmed at this point. So we have a very broad range of speakers this year. So we have general web development, and we have some Umbraco experts on the various things in Umbraco, and we'll announce more of them. But I think right now we have 6 speakers publicly announced. Whereas we have Tobias Arlin, who's a Swede who's been working for GitHub and Spotify. So he'll be talking about his experience working there and like the process of building a product. Then we have Simone Chiaretta, who's a Microsoft SP VP thingy.
Yeah, there are more acronyms.
There's more acronyms in there even, but he'll be talking about ASP and core. So, which is known as Next, or was known as Next. And yeah, we got loads of other speakers as well.
I think the best thing this year is that there's actually sort of 3 overall topics. So until this year, it's always been semi-random, the different topics. This year, it's sort of all the speakers relate to one of these 3 overall topics. And of course, if you've never been to Code Garden before, it's sort of the thing you have to do if you work with Umbraco. It's there's all the sessions, but then again, I mean, you can just watch them on video. But experiencing the community live is very hard to explain. But it's definitely probably one of the fastest way to learn how to build better sites because there's so many brains to pick from. So that's very cool. And it's also the most ambitious Code Garden ever. I mean, we've had a full-time working on it since before the last Code Garden ended. We are constructing and basically the internals of a venue to be optimized to the ultimate Code Garden experience. So either it will be a complete disaster, the V5 of Code Gardens, or it's going to be fantastic.
You'll definitely.
Yeah.
It's the people that make Code Garden.
It's the people that make Code Garden. This is Sebastian Jensen. He's our head of marketing.
No, but to be fair, the first time I went to Code Garden, it was in 2009, and I was, as any nerd is, scared of other people and talking to them. And I had the best time, and it was really easy to get talking to people and recognizing that other people had the same challenges that I had, and it was awesome. And I won an Xbox.
Wow.
Woohoo!
I remember that.
Dave asks, shouldn't Warren grow a beard or at least a moustache? Seems like HQ requirement looking at the others.
Yeah, Warren and Klaus needs to step up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Within, I mean,
Is it part of the contract?
It's also, I mean, it's the first year, right? So we tolerate more things. And after a while.
There's a beard club at Code Garden now.
Oh, the beard club.
The beard club. The
But
beardies.
I don't qualify.
You have, what, 3 months.
Yeah, but it turns gray if you notice. The moment it's more than a.
You should dye it.
Just for men.
Is there going to be a dye workshop?
Yeah, that's like the Tom Selling workshop.
Umbraco orange. You can get an Umbraco logo right into it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah, come on.
No.
I've worked.
Ravi asks, does this code garden involve any electric shocks?
Yes.
But only for Ravi. We'll have there will be a game called Let's Hunt Down and Shock Ravi Motor. It's going to be awesome. And it's every day. From
For 3 days?
From 8 to 10.
Yes, it's a separate track.
Yep.
So Nick Rimington asks, what has been the hardest part about developing Umbraco and what has been the most satisfying?
Big question.
I think the hardest part has been to find a focus as the number of people using it also has an increasing amount of opinions. I guess also being rooted in sort of a developer community, making sure that we don't forget to also make Umbraco delicious for the people using it once the developers disappear in projects. I guess that has been probably the hardest part. The most satisfying is, I mean, again, it's so easy to say. It's at CodeGun when you see what people have created, without a doubt. I mean, again, the community is very fantastic. But also seeing that a tiny company like this actually can compete against the big boys, that's very rewarding, I think.
Yeah.
Sweet. So Ben Norman asks, I'm really interested in the ASP.NET identity integration for membership. How's that going? I think that's a Shannon question.
Well, there's a project called Umbraco Identity for Members, which is on NuGet right now, and also on my GitHub. The functionality for that will sort of remain there until either later 7.x releases or until version 8. But in version 8, we will absolutely primarily have identity in the core for back office users and front-end members. Right now, identity is already in there for back office users, but if you need it for front-end members, then you can just install the NuGet package.
Sweet.
And it should just work.
Cool. Morton is asking upstairs, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars as well.
Star what?
I've never seen Star Trek.
Or Star Wars.
I've only seen the Star Trek.
So you haven't practiced those?
I can't even. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
You always end up with West Side.
Yeah.
Long and West Side.
Oh, that's okay. That's actually quite hard.
What are you doing?
He's finding something that's not Star Trek related.
There.
Vintage.
Even with spider webs on it. Very
Discolored white Lego bricks.
Slightly yellow.
Yeah.
The home of a cigar smoker.
So Stefan asks, has there been any progress on the integrated URL tracker? I don't know what that means.
It is on our list to do.
Okay.
But no progress. But what we would like to do probably is put that up for grabs with the very definitive list of subtasks.
Yeah.
Cool.
So for everyone watching or here, that's like tracking 301 redirect type things, right?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Hendy asks, any plans to bring, can't really commit, a feed of community blog posts back onto our Umbraco?
That would be lovely.
Yeah. So people just start blogging.
I think that.
Yeah. What happened to blogging?
No, I think in combination with the fantastic stuff that the script people are doing, and also getting some sort of moderated Umbraco Twitter feedback, so it's not just a long list of recruiters. But it's sort of the last. I think it's one of the last things that really need to be updated from the hour overhaul. Yeah. Sort of remember that there's a community outside of our.
Yeah.
That should be surfaced as
Visible. Yeah.
Cool. The community never forgets.
Ben asks, is per looking at Angular material for the next version of the front end, what front end frameworks are you considering? Well, maybe that's best for Mads and Simon and Per to answer.
Yeah, so we have
And front end, you mean back office?
I presume back office.
Oh, it's all going to be React, right?
Yeah. We're waiting for the
Vanilla.
next
Vanilla.
Just like some more pure ones. No, so I think for version 8 of Umbraco, we're staying with Angular 1, so it'll be the latest version of Angular 1. We're not specifically looking at material as a framework to inherit. We don't. Well, there's a lot of great ideas in material, but I also think we have a good design direction right now in the back office, and we'll keep going with that direction and start building out to be more of an identity instead of just copying what's in material. Yes. So that's for version 8, and then for version 9, it's scheduled to be Angular 2. And yeah, I don't see any reason to change that right now. No. But as everybody knows, we've been using Angular, is that Angular 2 is a massive change. So there's a lot of things we don't know about that yet, which is also why we're not putting it in Umbraco. Yeah.
What is that man doing?
But it's also more what do you want to get out of using a framework, rather than just using the latest and greatest. I think sometimes you forget that what Angular has given us is a common language for extending Umbraco, which is much more valuable than if it's related.
And also, if you look at the criticism of Angular, then the thing that's being criticized for is not really a problem in the back office of Umbraco. We have pretty good control of what's going on inside the back office, and for property editors that you build, it's a nice way of building things. You don't get into all these big issues that people are seeing that's building out huge massive apps. So we're not in a hurry to change away from Angular 1 because it's a great framework for doing what you do right now in the back office.
Cool. Paulus, I think, asks, Umbraco roadmap shows V8 to be released by the end of the year. Is that still a date you're working towards?
We will work towards that date. Yeah, the plan is to focus on that more or less starting now. I guess we will only have a really good understanding of how long it's going to take sometime this summer. I think that's just the honest answer.
Yep.
So, it'll be ready when it's ready, I suppose.
But core-wise, it is the top priority.
Yes.
I mean, there's also more focus now, but there's already been cleanup, new cache.
Yeah, there's already a ton of stuff in there. We'll have the new cache merged in the next couple weeks. Hopefully, I'll talk to Stefan about that. There's already tons cleaned up in there. If you open the project, there's already, I think, 4 less projects in there, which is pretty cool. So we'll keep working towards that, and then working towards the features that we're going to put in there.
Sweet.
And I can't recognize the project, so that's really that's out of the best. Best endorsement ever.
Where's that icon?
I didn't make that one. That was not me.
Sam asks, any plans to make document types exposed in code for working with code first and allowing deployment via source control?
Well,
That's what Courier does.
So he's asking for code first support?
No, there is no plans for to do code first support. The idea for code first, I think, originated because document types were so difficult to create, and now they are extra easy to create with 7.4. So moving forward, there's no core vision for code first. We believe that it's done very well in the UI and the back office.
But if people haven't noticed, then ever since 7.4, we generate models based from document types. So it's sort of the opposite approach.
So UI first, you get the models, and for deployments, we have Courier and Umbraco as a service. So we think we cover all the things that's the reasons why people ask for code first.
Cool. Ali asks, how is my Danish, Warren? Crap. Tusen tak, mega tak, super tak.
Warren will do a workshop at CodeGarden.
Yep, 101 Danish. Tom Pipe asks, who's booked instead of Ola Erling? Rest in peace. Will it be Niels or one of his simps?
It is top secret, but will be revealed during the dinner, right?
Yeah.
Yes. But we're not trying to replace him. He cannot be replaced.
He's irreplaceable.
Yes.
Cool. Ravi asks, 7.4.
Oh, it's a real question.
7.4 and the new doc types editor change was huge. What is the next big change we can expect?
V8.
V8 variations and segments.
Yeah, with some new UI Fandangle stuff.
UI Fandangle. Is that the technical term?
Yeah.
And I guess that's continuing on the work that we've been doing on making the UI more consistent in 7.4. Mainly, you've probably seen the grid editor and the nice publish bar at the bottom now. That's always consistently there instead of floating stuff. So
changing places.
Maybe Mess and Simon can talk a bit more about consistency and things like that.
Yeah, maybe
not.
It takes time to tighten the back office to look more consistent, but it's fun doing it, and the community has helped a lot, especially Bjarne Fjustenborg.
Yeah, shout out to Bjarne.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Bjarne.
Every pixel counts, Bjarne.
Fandangled is the new framework we're using.
We check for Fandangle.ts.
Round the table, what's your favorite feature of Umbraco? Going round the table, what's your favorite feature of Umbraco? Let's go this way around, Shannon.
Making it.
Build it in. I don't know, is there anything specific? Or maybe something that you're most proud of building then?
Well, the thing I love the most about it is it's so extensible, you can make it literally do anything you want.
Anything?
Anything.
That's a bold statement.
You can actually literally make it eat a WordPress site.
I heard, yeah.
Have you tried that package?
Can you make it leak a lot of documents from Offer?
What's WordPress?
Simon?
I don't know about feature, but I love the fact that it's open source. And I completely love working on an open source project with such a great community behind it. So yeah.
Sweet.
And from a back office point of view, I would say custom property editors. I think it's a great thing that you can make an editor to do exactly what is needed for the content that you want to present.
Build a UI that's specific.
Yeah.
Clubs?
I guess for me it's the extensibility thing also, that you can basically make it do anything. You don't have to use it to create a website. You can basically create it as a backend for an app or whatever you need it to be.
Runa, down here?
All the good ones have been taken. You can take them as well. Taking everything that got said. I also think that open source is pretty fantastic, and also that there's it's not very far from doing your first pull request to actually being a part of the Umbraco call. If you do something that's cool, then when it gets pulled in, it gets reviewed. And the process with that has been sped up a lot over the past year, I say. So I think that's pretty fantastic. Yeah. Well, all the good ones have already. No, I think the attention to detail and user experience in our recent stuff has been really good. So all the little details that we put into it now, like dragging a folder into the media section and just kind of creates the structure that's in the folders and the files. Just a tiny thing.
Yeah, that's nice attention to detail.
Yeah. So I like that we have time to do that now and test those things more thoroughly because there are more people working on it.
Cool.
For me, without a doubt, the audit trail, I think.
Is that what you
built? No, document types. It's been a fundamental thing in Umbraco ever since the start. Everybody else is adding it as an afterthought. And I think the entire flexibility and extensibility of Umbraco sort of springs from that. But I like that.
Yeah. Document types. The best part about the new document type editor is the keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah, there's
take 5 minutes, learn them, and you just super productive in making your document types. It's all mess.
Kudos to
all hail to mess.
And I suppose myself is actually the community, believe it or not. It's
a feature.
It's a feature. Yep, it's definitely a feature.
Awesome question.
Yep.
Yes.
Well done, Nick. Dave asks, Nils mentioned on Twitter that MVP nominations will be done different this year. What is changing? Hope the community outside Umbraco.org gets more attention.
Thank you. I will send you the check afterwards. I was actually supposed to talk about it last week. Yes. We'll have we'll have more MVPs. First of all, we've ever since the beginning of the MVP program, we've had 5 MVPs every year. The community has grown times more than 20. But we're changing it, so we have 4 overall directions. We have basically the forum, which is more or less how the MVPs used to be. Then we'll have package creators. Then we'll have external community, so people blogging, arranging meetups, organizing festivals, all that kind of things. And then we'll have core, which is pull requests, help with testing, feedback. There's so many ways, documentation. So there's a lot of ways that you can contribute. But details coming shortly. And those who become MVPs this year will be notified by the end of this month. But will be killed if we reveal it before CodeCon. Literally.
As usual.
Yes, there is one guy that never made it. Win some, you lose some. He was a happy MVP for me.
Yep.
Now he's at the bottom of the lake of Odense. Is there a lake?
I hear there's a fjord.
There's a small puddle. There's a harbor.
At the base of Sky Mountain.
Oh yeah.
So Sam asks, any plans for audit trail rollback within
What?
No?
What is?
Any plans for the audit trail rollback feature with the template editor?
There is no immediate plans for that. No. We are actually removing more database reliance on templates. The only reason templates will exist in the database is for naming purposes. That's the only purpose of the database. Otherwise, it's just a razor file. Yeah. If you want to roll back your templates, that's what Git is.
Yep. Craig asks, you asked again, Ssl-Certificates, do we need to provide and install our own, or can Umbraco as a service generate them? I understood there were plans afoot to have it generate them.
There are still plans afoot to generate them. For now, you'll have to provide them yourself, which is easier and easier. Search for "Let's Encrypt" in the browser, and then you can actually just type in your domain name, and you get an SSL certificate that you can install immediately on Umbraco as a service. But we are planning to automate that so that you don't have to even think about it.
But all plans on US also supports SSL.
Yeah.
So there's no.
And everything is completely.
And SSL is already enabled on the Umbraco IO.
Yeah,
on the portal, you mean?
No, on all your own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ismail asks, any chance plans of a Slack channel for gold partners?
We have discussed that. I don't think we've reached a conclusion, but it's not something that's completely foreign to us. So right now we've not made a decision. It's more if we have the resources internally to handle it. Otherwise, we'll just be a Slack channel with no one asking questions.
Or maybe another question for you.
Yes. So, but I think to make it clear, I don't think the Slack channel will be a support channel. That's not the purpose. We have support channels in other locations. So we're not adding a Slack channel to be like immediate chat-based support for partners. But it is an interesting idea, and it's something we are discussing.
Yeah, we've also talked to other ones who are using Slack
for
that kind of thing.
So there's more expectations about is it support or is it more just direct line of communication?
Okay. I think this is Maciek. Any plans for easier front-end development on OS X?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We'll have.
Maybe you could talk about that side project that's not so secret.
Yes, we can. So we have some tooling in place for Umbraco as a service that allows you to make changes on OS X and stream those changes up to Umbraco as a service, and also use them in a browser on your local machine without needing a Windows or a local web server. We'll just take care of all that, and we'll just proxy changes back and forth between you and the service.
Nice.
It's so slick.
It's very slick. So we'll make a demo of that and make it public at some point when we actually get time. Actually, the code inside is built in OS X. Oh yeah, it's just yes.
Nice.
Also, Spring Summer.dk has been built on OS X.
So we'll have sessions at Code Garden about these things. And hopefully we'll be able to show something before Code Garden as well.
Cool. Klaus asks, any plans for an out-of-the-box front-end search function that works nicely with the grid?
It is on the to-do list, yes. You can still make it work today with some additional code or manual code.
Yep.
But it will be in there eventually.
Cool. Robert asks, I keep getting asked about enhanced user group management in the back end. Do we have a timeline for this sort of thing?
So like rules for back office users?
Yes. No, we don't.
We don't have.
I mean, it's fair to say that it's something that's been discussed for a long time. It has some pretty heavy side effects, which makes it more difficult to implement than one would think if you want to remain, keep having backwards compatibility.
It is on the list, though. It's not that we are totally ignoring this. Yeah, as Niels points out, it's just a bit more difficult than we think because it has a knock-on effect. But
yeah, Robert is adding in regards to permissions.
Yes. So right now, user groups are only there more or less for default permissions. So yes, it's on the list and we discuss it quite often. I can't give any time frame on implementing it.
Cool.
What's that Dutch guy's name? I keep forgetting it. From Perplex.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. He made a really cool article in script.io last year with some very cool ideas for user management enhancements. And yeah, there's so many great ideas there.
The other thing is we need to, so there's currently a bridge between ASP.NET Identity and then the old membership APIs.
Forms based?
Well, it's just membership API is just old. So we need to move all the code to use identity in the back office first, then start exploring how we can incorporate ASP.NET Identity roles so that if people want to use OAuth providers or just put their own full identity provider in there, that the security and the roles and all these user groups work as intended. That's why it's not like a really quick fix.
Yep. Kevin asks, any plans for private media, i.e. all media is public without additional tooling?
You could do that today, like with some custom code, but I don't think there's an immediate plan for us to support something like that. Because all of the permissions would have to come through a proxy. So if you had your own property editor and upload control, you could store all the media in app data, let's say, and then generate your URL. That's a proxy that checks permissions. So it's definitely doable to do.
Mike asks, any plans for housekeeping in the core, version restriction, log tidying, media resource, orphans usage, etc., template usage, media physical file storage allocation, missing FAUM in Umbraco 7?
That was an old...
I have no idea what this is, FAUM?
Package, yeah.
So housekeeping, I guess, it falls under the whole health check system that we are implementing, which is mostly community driven at the moment. But when you go to the developer section, you'll have a lot of checks that will run against your environment with calls to action. So those items could just be individual calls to action where it says, hey, you have orphan media, click this button to fix it. Hey, you have a lot of logs, click this button to tidy them up. So those could all fall under house cleaning. We do have a task in the log, a backlog that's been there for a while, which is to limit the number of documents created per document type.
Yeah, versions.
Version. So that'll be like a 7x.
Yeah.
And there's a package for that already if you want it now.
Right.
Cool. Dave asks, the translation section in Umbraco needs some TLC. With property editors storing JSON, it's not very usable anymore. Are there plans for it?
Not at the moment. I mean, it's. I think saying that it needs some TLC is quite an understatement. But it is one of the least used areas of Umbraco. I've seen some examples where people have used. I can't remember. There's sort of an official translation file format. I can't remember what it's called. But I think you would be better off making something custom. I think it's one of the last area of Umbraco that will get TLC in the near future.
In V8 though, it's moved to the dictionaries, moved to the translation section, so you can give permissions to translate. So that's one enhancement.
So Nick asks, Which side of the table would win a paintball battle?
This side.
We're one more. Let's try.
I'm small and hard.
You were good at dodgeball, weren't you?
Ismail is saying, I am noticing more beards. Is this because it's a fact beards make you a better developer?
Absolutely.
Nope.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
Simon and Mads make up for our beardless faces.
I think we all want to live up to Ishmael's
Yes.
outstanding beard.
Yeah. Robert asks, we reviewed the Script.io article at the last Melbourne Umbraco meetup. Everyone wants it now.
Which one?
I don't know.
Probably the user permissions.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
Oh, because you also.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't always get what you want, but you could PR. That's yeah.
Cool. I think that's it for questions for now, unless any more comes in.
Some great questions.
No, it was good question.
Let's sit here for 5 minutes and see if there's more.
We just stare at the screen.
It's always good to end on a note, of course.
Yep.
It's the Umbraco way.
Robert that's in relation to permissions. The other thing they're clamoring for is enhanced workflows.
That is
Again, it's not a high priority in Umbraco. If you read, some clients want it, but if you read blogs from experts like Real Story Group, you'll find that workflows tend to either be turned off or the one top of the chain hands out their password, not officially. I think the place, the sort of the sweet spot of Umbraco is likely not in projects that needs a lot of workflows. There's products out there that are really good, excel at that. That said, there is an event model inside Umbraco, and if anybody ever tried to work with a big workflow system or feature in a product, you will find that it's might be easier to just work with the event system in Umbraco and take the workflow from there.
Which is also the same principle of permissions. So we've always talked about permissions. Making user groups is one thing, but then granular permission structures become really, really, really complicated if you make it do what every single person wants. So instead you make it simple and you have an event model that people can then make as many granular permissions as they'd like. So that's sort of been our idea, I think, for a while.
Nick has a good question. What's everyone's favorite or most impressive package for Umbraco?
Articulate.
Simon?
Good question. Good question.
All time or right now?
I don't know. It just says, what's everyone's favorite or most impressive package? Let's say now then.
Nested content. I think that's it's a great example of how the community enhances Umbraco with functionality that obviously is needed in the core, closes a gap, and then it's extremely elegantly executed. Very, very nice in the UI. You could say the same thing with Volto.
Yep.
On another scale, really impressed with the Marcello project. I think we're quite lucky to see a package of that scale being MIT licensed. E-commerce package from Umbraco. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. I like Dan Diplo's log viewer, so you can go into the back office and expand your logs, and you can sort through them and filter them.
Yep.
Excellent for support work.
I think based on the thing I've installed the most, then it's probably the local golf.
Yes.
Lead thing to it. Yeah, great demos for testing, for birthdays, everything.
Birthdays.
Oh,
Bar
you
mitzvahs?
for birthdays? Yeah.
Literally everything in the kitchen sink.
And I think for the other, I think one of the great examples of the style text box packages is like a little text area where you can add a CSS string. You just make it look like, and you kind of like, if you want like bigger font or another color, you just reflect what the user will get when they actually see it on the page. It's like 4 lines of code.
That's cool.
But it's just nice and simple, easy way to make the experience better.
But I think one of the coolest things is the amount of quality package out there that covers, especially after 7 with all the custom property editors. Whenever I need to do some sort of demo of Umbraco, it's very rare that I can't cook a demo in a couple of hours that blows people away, which is damn cool.
Cool. Dave asks, are there any plans for internal link tracking in future versions so you can see on media or content item where it's linked?
There is a plan to standardize this a little bit. As far as tracking links go, maybe not so much. So I suppose with the limiting and relations, you could do it. But let's say storing IDs in text format. So if you had a JSON blog or in the RTE, instead of just storing a number, we'll start storing like a smart ID. So you can tell what its GUID is and where it came from and where it belongs. So this will also help with deploying content in the future too. But in the future, I guess, if we have this sort of smart ID, then you can use the Relations API to actually track it all if you wanted.
Sweet.
Have you been purposely avoiding pronouncing his last name?
Yep.
Wustenbors.
Boris.
Very good.
Once you got Odense right, you can practice.
Ravi asks, what's the one feature you would like to see developed that is not on the timeline yet? Round the table.
Oh, that's a tough question. You guys go first.
Warren.
Wow. Not on the timeline.
Not on the timeline. Well, mine is obviously better forms development. Make sure that forms is now rock solid, but that's on the timeline.
I know.
Go on then, Chef.
I got a bunch of Freedom Friday.
Yeah, nothing that springs to mind, but I'm sure there is. Seb?
No. I want to make two-factor auth happen in the back office.
Two-factor auth?
Yes. Because I'm paranoid about security.
You need your tinfoil hat. Niels?
Based on this, the last feedback, I think it's actually the user group enhancements. We sort of keep avoiding them, to be honest, because they are tough. That would probably be a good idea. Apart from that, I'm insanely impressed with our current roadmap, actually. But I guess it's when you're involved, you also start turning off because you know that we are almost, or we are currently, outputting the maximum we can do. So I guess, and we have planned work for a long time. So I guess then automatically you tend to not think about the stuff not on the roadmap.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on the roadmap, which we don't tell anyone about, but I think just running back on my Mac without using a virtual machine would be nice.
Hey, that would be good.
So that's sort of on the roadmap.
Sort of. So it's like
It's kind of on like the gravel road.
yeah.
Yellow brick road, maybe?
We're calling it Nueve.
The way.
I think everything is on the roadmap in some form or another.
I got all these.
You got these crazy ideas.
Go
I
ahead,
think
then,
it would be
Shan.
cool to have a migrate to Umbraco's service feature. That would be really sweet. to easily get an existing project onto Umbraco service.
There's also that experience we talked about.
I'm going to go with the user groups and permissions. I think that's a pretty important feature to get at some point, but we haven't really figured out when it can be done because it's such a big task.
I'll follow that up with something Stefan just told me to say, because he's not at this table. Not at the table, but I also want proper, clean, nice permissions for everything. So we are thinking about these things.
What's table in French? What's that?
Tablet.
Le table.
We're butchering it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it must be Simon's and I's secret Freedom Friday project. So if you have a Mac, you may know the app called Alfred
Or Spotlight.
or Spotlight. It's a action toolbar where you can hit command or control space, and then you can do search and do all sorts of actions. And we have tried to implement something in the back office for search now. So it could be cool to extend it with all kind of actions, so you can do everything with just the keyboard.
Yeah, sweet, cool.
A small little project.
It's good. Accessibility is, in general, is a very nice idea.
Things I would like to do and see in there, which would be super fun, is when we get, well,
I'll get some coffee.
It's gonna be a while. Page 1 of.
Cool to get Azure directory for Leucine back to work with our version of Leucine, so we can store Leucine in blob storage, so it works much better for scaling and just cloud, well, Azure in general. I would like to try to make Azure search provider for Examine for the same reason. That'd be pretty cool. I'd also like to make the Elasticsearch provider. I don't know if any of this is possible. So
Spitting out crazy ideas.
Kind of cool to do. My favorite potential feature is package migrations, which I have a
Yes.
concept for. That would just be amazing to do.
Yeah, what does that mean?
So package migration. Right now, you make a package, and you can either release it on NuGet or you can release it as the Umbraco package format. There are inconsistent ways to install, and there are inconsistent ways to get data in there as well. So if we want to make one consistent package that works in both Visual Studio, NuGet, and the Umbraco backoffice, this is sort of unifying the package structure and making package migrations. And so we get rid of the idea of package actions. All packages are NuGet packages. They still contain the same exact manifest, because the NuGet's just a zip anyway. Yeah. Still contain the same manifest, just a slightly different file structure. And then in there, you have a DLL for your own package migrations, which is the thing that does your package actions, which could be installing data into Umbraco, upgrading your package, changing files, whatever. When Umbraco starts up, it will check if your package requires migrations to execute. And if it does, it will basically just launch the installer screen, a different version of it, to upgrade your package or to install that data. So that way, if you install a package from NuGet, via NuGet in Visual Studio, installs all the files, you control F5, your site starts, and then all your data gets installed. Similarly, if you're in the back office, you would just install the package, and your site would restart, and then it would launch the package installer, just like you did in Visual Studio. So one format for all purposes. And then package upgrades would just work as well. So
Yes.
And then you can just NuGet everything.
NuGet all the things.
Also an
Go on.
iQueryable provider for our data services, which I started with the LinkPad provider I made, which would be super good. I'll stop there.
10-page document.
There will be a session at Code Garden where Shannon talks for 2 hours about
All the things he wants
crazy
to do.
ideas. Ismail asks, are there any notable big new sites running on Umbraco as a service? So I think from Code Garden last year, was it Carlsberg? Or the year before?
Year before they started that project. Not that we can currently talk about. This is in public.
Ismail also asks, when can we expect a new episode of the Umbracos?
It's on Netflix, isn't it?
Or HBO, I can't
Mike asks, maybe plans for handling concurrency conflicts with multiple editors attempting to author the same content at the exact same time.
Can you make an issue for that?
Yeah. We have that, I don't know if we want to call it a roadmap. It's in our thoughts for the future. But ideally, we've started doing this in the last couple of months, and we're going to get better and better at this, is creating up for grabs tasks where we define what is required technically and then assist the community in making these things. So whether that's laying the foundation for it to be added to, like we've done with Health Check, I think that system works pretty good so far. But this would be an ideal candidate for something like that, because the way we want to do it is not terribly hard. It's more of a SignalR thing and more of a UI thing. We aren't going to go so far as to limit the service layer or like the transaction layer from concurrent editing. That would be very difficult. This is more just a UI editor feature.
But Tim Geisen actually made a pretty nice package that showed, using SignalR, gravitas of who's editing the page currently.
I think it's also the plan to add SignalR into core.
Yes, yeah.
So that's, we've been talking about that. But
Yeah, but that's actually to do, it's actually a task now, so it's just being added.
And that's, that'll be 7.5.
So it'll be easier for people to do it.
Yeah.
Craig asks, is Usync no longer needed for Umbraco as a service?
What?
It is not never needed.
Usync has never been a part of Umbraco as a service.
Okay.
Maybe it's Courier, I mean, Courier is part of Umbraco service.
Brian asks, any plans for getting a selection for developing to individual children? Deploying, thanks. Any plans for getting a selection for deploying to individual children on an Umbraco as a service baseline project and getting a longer session? Right now, it times out and then you can't follow your deploy.
Okay. What? The first I didn't get the first. I didn't get the first bit. You want from baseline to children, and you want to do only some children.
Any plans for getting a selection for deploying to individual children? So rather than
right now, when you push from a baseline, then you push to all the children.
Yeah.
Can you be selected?
Not in very near future. I mean, it's not in the coming sprints.
It's something you
but of course,
you can do it by Git, or.
But if there's timeout issues, then we should definitely do that.
Yeah, well, I think he's just getting logged out of the back office.
Yeah, it's just
just updating the timeout, logout, timeout in web config should help.
Or changing it in your Umbraco config and say, don't log me out ever.
Well, that's not secure.
Well, it will log you out ever. It will log you out in a few days or something if you haven't logged in. It's the same as your Google account.
It's also not secure.
I think that's it for questions.
That was awesome.
Yeah, great questions.
Cool.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Warren.
No problem. And thank you for all the questions and everyone watching. Till next time.
See you at Code Garden. We'll do it live at Code Garden.
Sure.
Will we?
Now we are.
Yeah, we'll.
What do we say?
Everything.
What do we say? Super tag.
Super tag. Always mega tag.
That wasn't awful.